Good evening. Welcome to the Stephen Knight Show. Hope you're having a great Monday. We're going to try our best to make it even better for you tonight. We're breaking down the latest and hot topics everyone's talking about. Find out how the Department of Education is being impacted by the government shutdown. Plus, Real Housewives of Potomac's Wendy Osefa and her husband Eddie are awaiting a November court date after being arrested for multiple felony fraud charges. Then later on, we'll discuss Serena Williams' husband Alexis calling out Stephen A. Smith. And Salma Hayek reveals why her husband wouldn't let her retire. All that and much more. I want you to connect with us on social media. We're on Facebook, Blue Sky X, and of course our YouTube channel, The Stephen Knight Show. Please subscribe. We appreciate you. Now, this is the last week of Hispanic Heritage Month. So shout out to everyone who observes it. And we know that group is under attack. So continue to celebrate and live your best lives. All right, family, how y'all feeling on this Monday? Y'all doing good?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, our question of the day is it okay to show up at someone's house unannounced? I'll start with you, Lydia.
Absolutely hell to the no.
Absolutely not. What about you, Chike?
Hey, Lania, what happens when people come to my house and they didn't make an appointment?
Listen, we don't answer doors, we don't go to windows, we don't check. And I got a Ring camera, so I will watch you on my Ring camera like,
Yeah.
oh, and I'm going back to sleep or doing whatever I was doing.
You have to make an appointment.
I agree. What about you, Brittany?
I'm with the rest of the crew. Don't show up at my door. Don't FaceTime me. If you don't FaceTime me and you ain't asked my permission, that's like coming to my house. Do not randomly try to see me without informing me first. I don't know you like that. Like, no, do not FaceTime me out the blue. None of that.
Yeah.
You will get declined. And I hide. I will hide. I'll sit there with all my lights on. And they'll be like, I hear you in there. And I'll be like, girl, that was my TV. I will lie. Do not. I do it to my kids' friends. I'll do it to my children. I don't care who you are, no.
Yeah, I definitely say don't come to my house unannounced. It was funny though. Well, I'll tell you a story. One time it was Halloween, and there weren't many kids in my neighborhood at the time. And I remember I had come home from work and I was tired. And I laid across the bed, and I heard the doorbell ring. I wouldn't even remember it was Halloween, and so I looked at my Ring camera on my phone. I saw this little girl dressed up to the nines. I hit in camera, went back to sleep. I had nothing for it.
I have a story. I have a story. Okay, so one time I was dating this guy, and I told him that I was going to Cali. He already had a trip planned in Cali. We did not plan our trips together. Yeah. He was going to extend his trip to add it to my trip and impose on my trip. I got mad about that, and I never talked to him again. Like, that was it. Like, I was like, you rude, hell no. Like, that's like showing up at my house. Don't show up on my trip. I don't like that.
It was funny. We posted on social media, and Will said, "No, it's never okay just to show up unannounced, even if there's an emergency reason. You need to see me. You could still call ahead." And someone responded, "What if what if they call you don't answer? Is it okay then, or is it still unacceptable?" For real, I'm not even trying to be smart. Legit, want to know. He didn't respond though. But it was an emergency, I can see. But he said, "Don't even come home for emergency." I think that's crazy. But anyway, let us know on Blue Sky or X. Is it okay to show up at someone's house unannounced? The Stephen Knight Show on Blue Sky and Stephen Knight Show SHO on X. All right. So Chiki, I know you wanted to jump off to get us started with hot topics. What you got for us?
Yeah, so I want to talk to my people out there. We're all in a trying time right now, dealing with this government that we have, and they're doing things and they're moving around with impunity. Now, follow me. If they're doing all these things, right, and we have this big election coming up next year, this midterm election, which could alter and shift of power if it changes, right? Why do you think that they're not moving in a way that they would have to pay consequences for the actions of now during that time? You have to ask yourself that question. They're acting like they don't care about the future elections, right? Like there's no consequence to pay. I think that they know something that we don't. And I already hear the rumblings of him trying to stop mail-in voting. Mail-in voting is the original form of voting. It is probably the only one where you can prove what your vote was. You have to sign a piece of paper. You have to, do the whole ballot thing, and then you sign it, and then you send it in. Well, I want to encourage everyone to jump to mail-in voting because it is proof of your vote. They can't manipulate it. They can't change it. Fill out your ballot, put your John Hancock on it, take a picture of it, and then send it to wherever it needs to go. My method I prefer is to drop it off by hand at your voting facility.
Drop off.
Or, you could mail it in. Just make sure you mail it in on time so it meets the time criteria. But just to be safe, I would actually take it there. But make sure that you take a picture of your ballot. So therefore, you have something to fight with later on. I don't know what he has in the works moving forward. Even if he fights the whole mail-in voting situation, I don't think that it will hold up because it was like it's in the Constitution. It was like an original form of voting. So please, I encourage everyone to switch over to mail-in voting. I did it in the middle of the pandemic, and I have no regrets. I have no question about its integrity. And also, too, if you register on, I think it's vote.com or vote.gov, I forget what the site is, but the official voting website, if you register, they will actually reach out to you and let you know that your vote was received. So you have a receipt that they received your vote.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all.
No, seriously, because I remember he was telling during the last election, he has a way of if he repeats something enough, his people will believe it by saying mail-in voting is cheating, mail-in voting, drop-off ballot is cheating. I remember he told his supporters to stand in line. I don't care if you're sick, because even if something would happen to you, at least you voted. And then he said one time, just vote for me one more time. That's all you have to do. Worry about vote me one more time. You know what I mean?
Or how about the time where he said, we already have enough votes. We don't need your votes.
Yeah.
What? What? What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on this, Linnea and Brittany?
So I'm a mail-in voter. I got mine. I need to fill it out, and I either take it to the designated drop-off, or I take it directly to the post office. All depends on how my movement is that day.
Yeah.
So, and it is convenient for when my dad was here, mail-in voting. Because he damn sure wasn't standing in nobody's line because he was elderly.
Right.
For my mom, well, I will say this: their voting place is never really crowded. So my brother enjoys taking her to vote, but there is the option for them to do that.
Yeah.
But generally, when they go vote, they're in and out. So, but I would say that, to your point about the comments that have been made, like there is some 2028 stuff already floating around for this man. Knowing that in the Constitution, that's not even supposed to be a thing.
Nope.
And the dude Bannon had already said something. Yeah,
he keeps repeating it.
Yeah, he's repeating that same thing. And as Shike said, first of all, they started saying the quiet parts out loud a long time ago.
Yes.
People were sounding the alarms a long time ago, but people ain't want to listen. And it's a shame that we have to continue to keep having these conversations for stuff that's so imperative,
right,
and so important, and so just so I can't find the word right now, but it is scary. Like the angst.
Yeah.
When you can't tell me that you don't feel no angst when you open up social media.
Right.
I never felt that before until this man got into this run. I never felt that before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I never thought about disconnecting from the news until that man got into this soiree, because then I noticed how the news was starting to maneuver.
Vigilate.
And I'm like, you're feeding this.
Mm-hmm.
You're helping to incite and push. And it's so frustrating because you're supposed to be a separate entity, but most media is run by.
Yeah.
So, they get to create those narratives, and it's
now he's suing the news stations. Several news stations had to pay him millions of dollars for things that they didn't do wrong, but they did it just to get the case over with. You know what I mean?
But see, that's the problem. Why are you settling instead of fighting?
Right.
You're
everyone that does fight, they win. Harvard won.
You're supposed to fight, because guess what? Then you're just laying down and you're taking it, and you're acquiescing to the nonsense.
And you're creating a new precedence. You're creating a new precedence, which is to the negative. And also too, keep in mind, this whole troops everywhere all at once is what he's trying to make the new normal. Yep. Pay attention to that, because that also ties into voting day. You're in line and you have troops around. Yep. That in itself is illegal.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think of his name, the reporter, but he shut
George Stephanopoulos.
George Stephanopoulos shut down JD Vance and then cut him off with the commercial because they try to lie and try to manipulate the conversation. Yep. George said, "Not today, not today."
And full disclosure, if people remember, George Stephanopoulos was part of the reason where ABC was in that lawsuit, because Donald Trump used him for the suit.
Yeah.
He said, "I don't want no smoke no more." Click.
Right. Brittany, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I agree with everything that was said. I think that, I am not a mail-in voter. I'm an early voter. I get to the polls early. I do my ballot. And like Linnea said, I'm in and out. I've never had long lines or issue of standing there really long. I do very much exercise my right to be like, I want to go early vote, so I don't have to deal with no lines. And then luckily, like the poll that I do go to, or I'm zoned to or whatever, well, because I early vote, I can go really anywhere in my county. And so I have this one place I go to all the time, and I never really deal with anything.
That's good.
Can I say this to you, Brittany? And that you really illustrate my point. You have no problems voting. You can go in. It's easy for you. If this man calls for martial law, you won't be able to come out of your house. Period.
Yes.
So mail-in voting, you can be at home under martial law and still vote.
There you go. But I've never really done it before. That was my whole point. I am a poll voter. I go.
Yeah.
Let me coach you, sister.
Well,
thank you, Chike.
Amid the ongoing government shutdown, the Trump administration has laid off most employees in the education department's office of special education and rehabilitation services. It's OSERS, which operates on roughly $15 million a year, ensures that 7.5 million children with disabilities are treated fairly under the Individuals with Disabilities Act. The office oversees state education systems and provides programs that support students with disabilities along with their teachers and families. The education department's layoffs, about 460 positions or 20% of the remaining staff, were part of more than 4,200 federal jobs cut on Friday, reportedly due to the shutdown. Trump has also directed the department to take on the new initiatives, including bringing back the presidential fitness test and promoting school prayer. The laid off employees' last day will be December 6th. He's saying that he's laying off these people in retaliation to Democrats. He's blaming the Democrats for not for the shutdown. And of course, the Democrats are blaming the Republicans because the Democrats' whole stance is if we agree to their ideas of shutdown and what they're wanting for the shutdown, then millions of people lose health insurance. And so that's why they're in opposition. But why are you impacting children, disabled children? Chike, what are your thoughts on this?
If you look at the gameplay, it's always about who they consider weak.
Mm-hmm.
It's about who they consider weak, the undesirables, the fringes of society. They're moving from the outside in. And disabled people are on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And they're an easy target for a bully. And for the most part, people that have means, if you have a disabled person in your family and you have means, you don't necessarily need the systems to take care of your loved ones. They don't care about people that are working class, not even middle class at this point. They only care about the super rich
Mm-hmm.
or the ones that can help them with their agenda. So I think that, again, Amanda Seales, not to be embrace everything that she says, but she says something that's really important. There's more of us than there is of them. We need to rally together and stick together and unite when it comes to the pushback of that. This man is going to use this shutdown to get rid of anyone that he can, and he's going to call it in the name of the shutdown and blame it on the Democrats because he can.
Mm-hmm. And Linnea, I saw a clip today. So now they have in the airport, they had these videos of Christina Home was over transportation. They there are videos of her um, welcome everybody to the airport and then saying how, TSA, their goal is get everybody through as swiftly as possible. But due to the Democrats not agreeing to the shutdown, there are some issues pretty much with your because there are people are experiencing issues at the airports. What kind of administration? Well, I mean, Linnea, what are your thoughts on all of this, the layoffs and everything that they're doing with this government shutdown?
I said it already.
Yeah.
Y'all were warned.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that these people are so petty and trifling, and people still acquiesce to them,
Right.
it does blow my mind. And the fact that you mentioned bringing back the presidential fitness test, that you would fail because the fake doctor's letter that was just put
Right.
out the
Right.
other day,
Uh-huh.
that no doctor in the world could have written. Not a real one anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Or one that's currently certified with the medical board. Maybe somebody whose license has been stripped from them.
Right.
A real doctor that could not have been a real doctor who wrote that fraudulent document.
Mm-hmm.
It just it boggles my mind. And if I'm someone who is of a different faith, you're not going to force my child
Right.
to participate in what you consider your faith. It's not your faith, it's your hate.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to force my child. There's a lawsuit. There's a lawsuit. People are starting to file class action suits, immigrants,
Yeah.
against ICE in this administration, as they should. As they should. So, but that whole thing with TSA and that woman in that video, you're not even professional.
Right.
That's not even you have no coup to you. So I don't know, Jay.
Yeah. Brittany, what are your thoughts on this? And you're a mother. Would think about mothers that have children with disabilities and they're losing these services. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I have friends with kids that have like IEPs and autistic diagnoses and all this other kind of stuff in the schools and stuff like that. And it's already hard enough for them to get the support. Like, I have one friend whose daughter is autistic that needs a paraprofessional, like one-on-one, that needs pull out services, that needs an RBT in class, that needs a speech therapist, that needs an OT. And because the county that she lives in is so rural and suburbia to Atlanta, it is already hard enough being acclimated to what they are seeing in the demographics, with more affluent blacks moving out there, more people with needs out there compared to just the people that they were servicing. So whereas they might have been used to servicing these kind of kids, now they're seeing more kids with these kind of behaviors or stuff like that. And they're like, well, we don't have a person. Well, this is a right that I have. So based on my IEP written by my psychologist, y'all need to go hire a person for this child. And to know that you're not going to have these rights to fall back on, because first of all, a lot of parents don't know their rights when they're fighting with school administrators. And so the school officials are just to be like, oh, well, the kid just can't come here. They're documenting all kind of ways to put the kid out and to push them into other programs that are like maybe beneath them because of their behavior being so difficult. And it's really hard to know, like, as a parent, you're not going to have anything to support the fact of you wanting your kid in an environment where she can still learn despite of. So that's really what all parents want, is their children to have a normal upbringing, regardless of whatever challenges they might have
Yeah.
in life.
You're absolutely right. Back in the day, I used to work with the youth back in Virginia, and one of the schools I was servicing, the school system, what they would do is they would deem children that weren't doing well special ed. And so the thing with that is when they graduated, they wouldn't get a diploma; they would get a certificate of completion, which they couldn't go to school off of that college, or wouldn't really recognize.
Yeah, and these administrators, like, and it was so funny because, I've been going through it with her. Our kids are the same age, and just seeing that they're quick to call, they're quick to message her in Class Dojo. They're documenting.
Mm-hmm.
They're documenting, and they're telling their higher ups, like, okay, we've had 5 instances of her flipping a table, of her doing this, of her writing on the walls. She got to go into this really special needs class, and it's like she's not even that severe. You know what I'm saying? Like, she can just need a RBT with her to be like, hey, sit down. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the administrators, they're just worried about their numbers.
Yeah.
How their school is performing, who all's being moved up. And so it really is the parents having to advocate for their own child's education, because every parent wants to see their kid go to prom, graduate, get married, go off to college, and have just a normal life despite of any challenges they might be having. So it's really sad to know, like, in cutting this, there are there's state grants that you can get in Georgia once you try public school up to third grade, where you can get private school for like smaller class settings for kids that are overstimulated, to know like that might be taken away. Like, any other alternatives you might think of to help the child are now being considered taken away. The CDC laid off people on Friday, then sent them a letter and say, oh, that was a mistake. 400 of y'all can come back, but the rest of y'all can stay gone. Like, it's really ridiculous out here.
Yeah, I was saying about that school district, that they would label the kids special ed. Well, I was telling my mom, because one of the kids that I was working with, I told my mom worked in education her whole career. She said that's illegal. She helped one of the moms write a letter to the Department of Education,
Oh,
and,
that's good.
and they got in contact with that school. So I mean,
Most parents don't know the right.
they
I
know
didn't know you
that.
could be in them parent teacher conferences.
Yeah,
They tried to hold the kid back. And the mom and my friend was like, absolutely not. She's going forward. And by law, they had to move her forward
yeah,
because they weren't doing everything to the IEP. I was like, we do not know our full
yeah.
rights with these schools. We think it stops and ends with the principal, but you really have way more
Mm-hmm.
rights
Mm-hmm.
than
Absolutely.
you
So,
know.
so part of Faith Evans' organization, Writers Room, is education about these very things.
Mm-hmm.
This very thing that we're talking about is their movements that a parent can do to get the resources directly to them for their child, as opposed to it going to the educational facility where the child is. And Faith educates people in those things. There's a series of symposiums on YouTube which she conducted in the name of Writers Room to educate parents about that very thing. So I urge people to check that out if you have a child that's on the spectrum and you're in a struggle. There's various symposiums to help you get those resources and understand what's going on and what you can do to help your situation.
Linnea, you're gonna add something?
Can I just, so on a personal note, and this just ties into advocating. When I moved to the area that I'm in now, which I moved in 2006 when my son was going into middle school. And when he hit high school out here, what happened was they wanted to classify him. And I'm like, he doesn't need to be classified. And I fought. And what most people don't realize is that when you fight, that's when things happen. Because I'm like, my son doesn't need to be classified. And with that being said, they wanted me, y'all saying that he needs to be classified. They wanted me to pay. I said, no, you're going to pay if you feel like he needs to be classified for him to be tested. Mm-hmm. When my son was tested, them people were so mad because he didn't need to be classified.
Right. Yeah.
They were so upset. I said, what happens is, especially when you put your child in a situation that's not a lot of us.
Yeah.
Y'all think because they're not engaged, what you're not doing is you're not stimulating them.
Mm-hmm.
What you're giving them is not, it's not enough to give them something to be interested in.
Yeah.
It's really, you're not even talking to them the way that they need to be spoken to. Mm-hmm. And it was such a joy to battle that educational system when I did it, you know what I mean? Because it was like one of those things, they really do like to try to classify our children because they get paid for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They get paid.
Mm-hmm.
Now, back then, I think it was like between $10,000 and $12,000 a child. I don't know how much it is now. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, it all depends on where your child is at as well, too.
Right.
That we're not doing that. He's not getting classified. He's not special ed. He's getting up out of there. He graduated. He was done. Yeah. So we're not doing any of that. But I say that to say this. Your child cannot advocate for themselves. It is the parents' responsibility. So when y'all parents are out here complaining about what people not doing, are you going to these school board meetings?
Right.
Are you going to the parent-teacher conferences? Are you going to the town hall meetings? You want to know why a majority of these people, they get what they want? Because they go into these meetings and they in there and they telling these people off about what they don't want. You're not going to put this in my neighborhood. You're not going to build this big mall or whatever here. You're not. That's what they're doing. They're telling you they don't want this for their children.
Right.
And these city council, these council members, these school board members, they're at meetings giving them hell. I've seen it. I've seen it. Mm-hmm. But then you have us, and it's like, well, they not doing. Well, what you doing?
Right. Exactly.
The one thing I have an issue with is when we try to hold our own people accountable, people want to get upset.
Yeah.
And always no. You got to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they don't care about our kids.
Exactly.
They don't give two shits about them.
Yeah. Absolutely. Be an advocate for your kids. You got to. You got to. All right, let's switch gears. So as mid-October 2025, Wendy Osefa and her husband, Eddie Osefa, now these are the stars of Housewives of Potomac, are awaiting November court date after being arrested for multiple felony fraud charges in Maryland. The charges stem from all alleged insurance fraud scheming involving a reported burglary at their home back in April 2024, which investigators claim was staged. Now, here's the breakdown of the current case. The charges. A Maryland grand jury indicted the couple on a total of 16 fraud-related counts for Wendy and 18 for Eddie. The charges included multiple counts of felony insurance fraud, conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, and making false statements to police officers. Now, allegations from the investigation. The investigators are alleged the couple reported a burglary at their Franksburg home in April 2024 while they were on vacation, but evidence suggests there was no forced entry and their home and their alarm system was not triggered. Police called the Josephas filed. They claimed they filed over $450,000 in false insurance claims for items, some of which are allegedly returned before the reported burglary. Intercepted email from Eddie to Wendy reportedly discussed reaching the policy's maximum of 423,000. Additionally, investigators found social media photos of Wendy wearing a ring after it was reported stolen and noted the couple was in a substantial debt around the time of the alleged incident. Now, the current status, Josephas were arrested October 9th and released the next day after being bonded. A representative stated that the couple is back home safely and looks forward to their day in court. Bravo has delayed and removed their episode from the Wipe Swap, the Real Housewives edition, though Wendy still appears on Real Housewives of Potomac. The next court appearance is scheduled for November 2025. So this caught everyone by surprise on Friday, because Wendy's always talking about her degrees and her education and how smart she is. And then there was an interview that that resurfaced from her discussing her home being burglarized. She was asked about it by the interviewer, and people said she seemed like that she was lying because she was looking around and her eyes, she wasn't looking directly at the interviewer. She was like, I don't know. It just, if you watch, it's kind of like, but sometimes when something's happened and you look for things in the interview, but it's not looking good for them. But I know Andy Cohen, he talked about it, and he said that he's sad to hear this because when he has always talked about education and things like that, so he hopes it's nothing. It comes down to nothing in the end. But Brittany, I know you on top of all this. What are your thoughts?
Man, it's so sad to see, and I the only thing I did not like is that I did not like seeing the other housewives use this as an opportunity for like captions and catchphrases and stuff like that because somebody else's light shine doesn't dim mine. Like, so for me, it just kind of felt like I didn't like that part. Like, this person they're going around talking about melodies, not felonies, and it's just all kind of like
Ashley.
nasty little things, and I felt like that's not the time to do it. I do feel like it too soon. Like I'm a fan of Shay, but it's a little too soon. Not while she in jail. Like yeah, like she is still in jail. Like let her get out before you make the catchphrases. And then number two. Ooh, the first episode, she over there at the fireplace talking about I want marble walls and fur this, and I'm like, Lord Jesus, and just it's like Andy, take all the episodes down because she is highly bougie, and we thought that was from all her degrees and Happy Eddie and everything else she was doing, and we thought her Nigerian mama had money. And yeah, she gonna have to remove some of them episodes because they seeing where that money going, and that's gonna rack up some more stuff. And Lord, Lord, they said it's a housewives curse. Everybody that go on that show is going to jail. They have Karen that went to jail. Then they had the housewives of Salt Lake City. That lady went to jail for some stuff. It's a lot of these housewives in jail once they put their live on TV. So Simon got deported. Yeah. He's a housewife by adoption. I mean, it's getting insane out here.
Well, they said that remember when Apollo when they were coming, he was hiding things. They knew he had it because of the show. They knew he had certain Facebook.
Apollo. And Phaedra knew about it. I am still convinced Phaedra knew where he was getting his money from. So, child, if y'all scamming, don't go on the show. Okay,
Don't
just
be on TV. Scamming.
yes, scam in peace.
Right.
Scam in peace.
Scam.
Scam and put your money in something legit and then wait a few years. Like
Wendy was
and
saying,
then
it was saying, Happy Eddie's doing very well.
yes,
You just
she
said
did do that. Oh my god, it looked horrible. It looked
that.
take all that down, Andy. Take it all down.
Now, Lydia, Chicky, I know you're not a fan of reality TV, but what are your thoughts just on the premise that if you're on a reality TV show that people tune into faithfully each week and you're doing fraudulent things? I'll start with you, Chike. What are your thoughts?
Um,
Fraudulent things.
okay, so I don't know. I know I shared this with you. I don't know if I've shared it publicly that Queen's Court reached out to me to be on a reality show.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the reason why I said no was because I don't need a reality show to tell the world who I am. I'm here. You can Google me. You know my work. I'm proficient in an area of expertise, right? Out of all the things that I do, what they were mainly focused on was the massage therapy. Out of all the stuff that I do, the
Mm-hmm.
degrees that I have, my current employment, things that I, am proficient in, that's what they were focused on.
Yeah.
So that was going to be the narrative on how they wanted to present me to the world as a massage therapist. That was a setup from the beginning.
Yeah.
No, thank you. No, sir. No way. No how. I don't want no parts of that because you only get one time to be pushed out into the spotlight, right?
Yeah.
In that regard, you will not control that narrative. I already seen what was coming. And that whole world of reality TV sets a precedent of, to me, it's like it's part of your job to floss.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah.
That's not my personality. I would never agree with that.
We had a guest on our show years ago. It was on a reality show. I think it only had 1 or 2 seasons, but I used to see it was based on the wives, but I used to see the husband at the gym all the time. And he was telling me that when he got casted on the show, he was trying so hard to stunt and make it seem like he had it. Like one time he said he appeared in a bubble bath or something like that, and it totally backfired. They thought he was gay. They thought all this and he just couldn't understand.
Who was it? Say his name.
It was a show. It was about the wives of pastors. I forgot what's called, the sisterhood or something like that. But anyway, he was. I mean, I remember one day he taught me to death in the gym. He was so upset about what the feedback was from the audience and and on social media. But Lydia, what's your thoughts on this? I know you're not a reality person, but reality show person. What are your thoughts on it?
Absolutely not. What Chike just explained to you, he called me.
Yeah.
We had a whole conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's not even our thing. That's not you.
And I'm sorry, Linnea, but in entertainment, perception is truth, right? Whether it be true or not,
yeah.
However the public perceives it is going to be the reality of things.
Mm-hmm.
And you only have one time to step out for the first time.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
And they get to first of all, once it gets on the edit table, you have no control over the editing process and how you are going to be seen. That's why it breaks my heart when you see the clips, the clips pop up on Instagram where you see these women of color just catty and petty and fighting because you do realize you're contributing to the narrative of how they see.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna say Black women because you're contributing to that narrative. I don't care if it's a show. I don't care if it's scripted. Y'all out here acting like straight fools.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cute. And then y'all, how do you I I can't go out to dinner with somebody and then turn around and then I'm talking so bad about the same person I just broke bread with.
Yeah.
She can't know if I don't like you, I don't like you. I can't even hold my face control. If I don't like you, it ain't happening for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you, oh, we're friends. And then next thing you know, y'all pulling each other hair out?
Right.
How does that work?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Lania and Chike. You gotta do a SWOT analysis, like on your strengths, weaknesses, and all of that, because it, like, I am not for reality. I cuss, I get mad. I don't have no like, I saw no. You're not gonna force me into an interaction with somebody that I know I'm beefing with.
Yeah.
Versus like Tammy and Evelyn. Evelyn slept with that big girl husband, and Tammy from the hood. Tammy had no business being on reality TV. I am so sorry.
And so there's the thing. People talk about editing so much. Oh, they edit me this way. They cut it up to make me look bad. Well, if you didn't give it to them, they wouldn't have it to cut up.
Right. That's true.
Because you can, that's like put me on with little letters, knowing how it is. You know what I mean? And next thing you know, I don't like little letters, and little letters don't like me. And next thing you know, we going at it.
Right.
Or the husband's side chicks come out the woodwork,
Oh.
and then you getting all these DMs coming to you as a woman. Like, if you know your man in the streets, why you gonna put him on TV? Like, I would be
Barbara and Shirley. Hey, Barbara.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you know anything, if you know anything about how it's really done, the producers, because they want the shock value and they want the ratings, they will put you in compromising positions to film it to see how they're going to act. Let's put the tiger and the lamb and see what happens when we put them together in the room and film it.
Juan Dixon.
When Candy first joined Housewives of Atlanta, I used to work with one of her business partners, and so she would invite us to a lot of the events, and they would be shooting. And I remember one time it was at Candy's shop, and Miss Park was there with me as well, and the cast was discussing things. The producers literally on the floor, say that again, Kim, say that again, Nene, come back, say that, and Candy Vaughn said, can you let us talk, please? It's like, I mean, it was very interesting to see how they're down there. Say that again. No. Did you hear what she said? Say that. Literally, while they're sitting there having a conversation.
But people don't realize this is a show. This is entertainment. Honey, when you see Maury or Jerry Springer,
it's produced.
The producers find these people to bring on these shows, and they tell them, this is what we need you to do. And audience members of someone who absolutely loves going to a show like that, they tell you what to do in the audience, man.
Yeah.
They're on the side. They're telling you what to do. They're putting the signs up. They're like, yeah, do this. We'll cheer like this or boo.
Yeah.
They're telling you all of that. I need y'all to understand that this is TV.
Right. It's so funny you say that, because I used to watch the end of it and you'd be like, yeah, you want your baby DNA tested on TV. And I would be like, who would want to go on TV to be like, DNA test my child? It could be one of 5 men.
Right. And then it don't be none of them.
Never.
I saw one like 5 men and it wasn't none of them. The dad wasn't none of them. I was like, golly.
I saw one where the twins, like the dad, each twin was a brother. I was like, what in the hell?
It's crazy. Listen, quick break. We're coming back. Serena Williams' husband, Alexis, he called her Stephen A. Smith, and somehow it reveals why her husband wouldn't let her retire. All that much more. Right back after this.